Hello, Perfect Fitting Shoes is proud to present a video showing the process of making some of the samples from our new line of moccasin-inspired shoes. These shoes are being made at a factory here in Mexico that specializes in making direct injection polyurethane sole shoes. If you have any questions or would like to order anything that you see on the video, please visit us at perfectfittingshoes.com or check us out on Facebook under the trade name Perfect Fitting Shoes. You can also find us on YouTube and Indiegogo.com under the trade name Perfect Fitting Shoes. We hope to hear from you soon, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. Hello everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Let me tell you a little bit about Perfect Fitting Shoes. My name is Jim and I created this line of shoes, and this is the factory that is making the production. So let me take you inside and show you around the machinery and production run, and then I'll tell you about the shoes. Thank you very much. It was hand cutting fabric material. This is for another project, but he basically did the same thing for the samples that you see in the video. He takes the pattern and he uses his knife, but he positions the pattern in the right place, sharpens up his knife, and cuts the shape of the pattern, he's making sure he gets all the little notches and cuts straight down, not at an angle. He's cutting two pieces at one time. And you watch him, he puts the edge on the blade every time before he cuts a new piece. Here we can watch a guy doing the sewing. Making samples is a very laborious process because all the pieces are new. The production is very slow, so they usually do it at night. So this is why the guy has a lamp on his table. But he takes a bag with all the different pieces for one pair, and he puts them together, and he just basically does all the sewing. He did some of the sewing earlier, and now he's just finishing this pair. But you'll watch him feed one piece and then the second piece right afterwards. When they do production, they'll feed 20, 30 pieces all back to back, and then they'll have some assistant who will do the cutting, separating the pieces. Here he's going to be sewing part of the heel counter. It's a liquid neoprene padded heel piece. And when they change material, they've got to adjust the machine, so all these things slow the production of making the samples down. When they have an assistant that can do all the cutting of the scissors, it makes things a lot more faster. Here he's sewing different pieces of the vamp of the rotor, or the vamp of the output. These are the side pieces to the vamp. So for each pair of shoes, there's 4 of these side pieces. Here he's sewing the main piece to the vamp, the front piece. The hand sewn part to the upper has already been done. When you make samples, you got to be patient because a lot of things are done very slow, which adds to the cost. you see the same guy doing the sewing, just a different angle from the camera. Again, he's sewing the side panel piece to the front part of the vamp on both sides of the upper. He has to keep checking everything to make sure everything's positioned correctly. Here you can see the sewer cutting off the ends to the thread. Here are the finished uppers after they've been sewn. They have to be completed. There's a little bit more sewing that has to be done, but for the most part the uppers have been sewn. The pieces are more or less aligned together. The green foam that you see, or the yellow foam, is the polyurethane foam that goes in between the leather lining and the leather upper. You've got brown uppers and black uppers. The leather's super soft and supple. The back heel counters are either lycra neoprene or leather neoprene. All of the shoes have a neoprene on the inside of the counter, but some of them have leather on the outside, some of them have neoprene on the outside. That's an earlier sample that was made. Comparing the earlier sample, again, an earlier black sample, an earlier brown sample. The brown sample has a leather heel counter and a leather lining to the heel counter. The new versions have a lycra neoprene lining to the heel counter, which you can see there in the chocolate. There's the green foam that goes sandwiched in between the upper and the lining. Another brown pair. Here are the shoes more or less semi-combined to form a three-dimensional image. There's still some trimming and some sewing that has to be done, but basically this is the shoe as it is progressing. We wanted to see how the pieces mate together. So there you have a right and left shoe. And here I'm putting it together a black sample. And here you see the finished shoes with green polyurethane foam on top. That eventually gets put inside the shoe. The foam. In front of this girl, you'll see the two green polyurethane foam pieces that are going to be inserted into the uppers. These girls are spraying glue, contact cement type glue, a very special glue that adheres to the polyurethane foam. They're going to stick on the toe reinforcement so that the shoe maintains its shape in the toe area, called a toe puff. But they've got to glue it in so it doesn't come separated from the upper. They've got to glue the upper leather and the lining to the pads to all these different toe pieces to make sure that nothing comes separated before the shoe is finally assembled at the sole injection site. All of these people get paid by the piece work that they do, so they work as fast as they can, but at the same time they get deducted for bad quality. And every production lot has a name and a date, so the factory knows exactly who is the one that did the work associated with the production. Here she's gluing in the polyurethane foam. A little bit more glue. Spray on more glue. And there's the finished shoe. After the upper has been completed, all the pieces have been glued inside, then they're sent to this department where they are steamed. And this box right here is a steaming box, and they'll put the uppers inside there so that the leather gets soft and supple so that it can be stretched as it is lasted. Now this is a production called strobel. The bottom of the shoe has a fabric lining. There's leather attached on the inside, which you can't see, but for the polyurethane part, it has a fabric lining. He's putting the upper on a stretching machine, which is going to stretch the toe to make sure everything comes in to shape and there's no wrinkles. They'll do this a couple of times while the leather is being softened in the steam box. And he's hitting the leather to knock out some of the wrinkles. Slide it off the mold, put it back in the box, and pull out another upper. Slide it over the adjustable mold. And it stretches and pulls the leather tight. This is just temporary to work the leather out and get some of the wrinkles out. You have to stretch the leather softly and gently because the strobel method of construction, they use the thread to sew the bottom piece on, and if you pull too much, the thread will break. Here the guy's pulling the leather over the last, making sure he gets out as many wrinkles as possible, getting it as tight as possible. And here he's using a shoe jack, and he's using a heavy-duty shoehorn to get tension on the leather to pull it over the back part of the last. The last has a hinge spring, so it's initially bent, and then he makes it go flat. But if he doesn't get a straight fit, or it looks like it's too tight in certain areas, he'll put it back in the box with the last to get it softer. Putting this fiberboard inside there so it doesn't stick to the last. It's easier to pull off. Here he's bending the last, breaking it in half so he can get the upper on it. Again, he's putting some pressure on the back, trying to get it over the back part of the last. material being on the bottom of the shoe, it makes it feel like a moccasin because you have leather all the way around your foot. Again, putting in a piece of fabric to keep the upper from sticking to the last. Very manual labor type of job. But it looks easy, but he's got to get it all positioned just right, which you'll see in a little bit where he'll have to readjust a lot of the fitted last. But he's just getting it on there initially. It's pretty well centered by virtue of the shoe being made the way it is, but there are minor details that has to be adjusted here and there in order to get the fit just right, so that the finished shoe is something that the customer will be happy to wear. Here's a heating machine. It's actually a dual machine. It's a heating and chilling machine, but in this turn it's a heating machine to make sure that the shoes are all hot, and then at the end they're going to readjust them if they need to. He's making sure everything's mated up correctly, the right height on the upper and the back of the last. The conveyor belt is automatic, so he just sets it in and it automatically runs on its own time. We sped it up a little bit, but it goes about a 45-second timer before it makes its additional run. Here you see the guy with another pair and set it up